Hello everybody, how's it going today? It's Frankie here and I'm back with another video on this channel for quite a while. I think the last video I made in this one, was it a gaming video, or I can't remember what it was on this controversial channel, right? But I'm going to be talking about something that I spoke about on my second channel, but I deleted it because it wasn't really fitting the channel criteria, and it's a very controversial topic and a very sensitive one too. And I'm going to be doing that sort of video again, but talking about it on this first channel. And I think I sounded a bit triggered and aggressive when doing it. I wouldn't say aggressive, I sounded a little bit triggered by it and how it was sounding. So I'll kind of make it a bit more better and different, but my points would be very different compared to how other people view it. And I'm not going to apologise again at how I feel about this topic, no more so, because people have different opinions on things, so I expect the utmost respect possible. If anybody did get offended out there, it's like, look, if anybody did get offended, that's on you. That depends on how you take it, but this is how I feel about it. And the topic is addiction. Now this is a very strong topic here, and this is why I'm going to probably do the best I can to try and talk about it. But some of the things I say will be a bit harsh, which sometimes when you give an honest opinion, something's going to sound harsh, or you're doing a bit of criticising, it's going to sound harsh. Now, I live with someone that has an addiction. I'm not going to talk much about that, but I'm going to relate it to other people, right? It's difficult and frustrating to live with someone that has an addiction, because you think they have to turn a corner, and you think with common sense they have to. It's not always the case, right? They always want to, they always act like that they're doing good and they're changing. It's not always the case in that situation, and it should be. Like, it's wrong to have an addiction. It 100% is wrong to have an addiction, but people sort of get addicted to it because they get addicted to something, whether it's alcohol, drugs, or certain websites. I don't know, whatever it is, right? It's all like a young age when you start doing it. It sort of programs in your mind, and when you do it every day, when you do it every day, it's sort of like you sort of get into a routine of doing it, like having a schedule. You sort of get used to it, basically. And it's kind of like it's like you want them to stop, but deep down that they won't. There's some people that's the thing is, people that actually do stop, they're actually the ones that take accountability and know how to stop. They know when to stop, and they know they got other priorities. And I believe that if you have an addiction to something, or you're addicted to something at a young age, you should not be having kids, period, because it sort of would affect how it's in the future. And people that have an addiction, it could be an addiction to anything, sort of don't understand and realise how it's going to affect them in later life. They don't understand it, right? They don't understand how it's going to affect them, and they have kids and it's like, oh crap, my son or daughter's looking at me like I'm crazy or a freak or something. And that's not going to draw into your head, and then the social services get involved, or whoever will get involved, and you sort of don't realise it. And when you have an addiction, most of the people don't have common sense and know when to stop and know that it's wrong and that they have to do it for their family. And that's where the problem lies. And this is where meetings and programs, they don't always work. You got to apply the knowledge at home, outside of it. It's like when I went for the SPEAR program. I know something different. When I went for the SPEAR program, it was about jobs and stuff. The certificates didn't mean nothing to me. I got one certificate from there. All I did was put it in the drawer, right? It's just a piece of paper with something that said, oh, you did this well done. That doesn't mean that you achieved something. Achieving something will mean you got to do it, and you got to be determined to do it. Now, if I become a YouTuber or a TikToker, about one of those two, that means I never gave up and I continued doing what I had to do. But with people with an addiction, they look at certificates and think, wow, I graduated, I've done it. You're kidding yourself. That means you're not going to change because you see that and you think you've already done it. But those people at meetings, wherever you went to, they don't know what's going on at home. If they knew, they would never give you that certificate. If anything, you've actually just didn't apply what you got from the certificates at home. And there's a big difference. Same with people that are like key workers or whatever it is, right? You have these people to talk to. I know what your situation with family members or friends that have it. I don't know who they talk to and see one-to-one, right? But that person, they probably are not doing a good job of talking to them and telling them how it is. Or they're probably just, the person's probably not applying what they've been told. I don't like criticisms. I can't stand it. But sometimes it's got to be done. And I know how it feels not to take criticisms. I don't like it because it's what you need to hear. And it's what you have to hear. And it's what you have to listen to. Choose how you want to take it. Choose how you want to process the information. But honesty and truth and facts are very important than just your feelings in that one. And I get withdrawals, right? That's a bit of a debatable one, because withdrawals is kind of like your body fighting it. People say you could die from it, of course. But at the same time, you got to get your body get used to it. You can't just let your body just try and overtake you like that. Just try and just force you to do what you got to do, what you don't want to do. If you don't want to drink and your body's forcing you to, don't do it. You know, if you need to have a drink and you feel like some health issue going to come up, fair enough, I can understand that. But don't milk it by actually doing it heavy, consuming or injecting whatever, taking something that's going to be affecting you badly, right? It's not good, you know. And these are the same sort of people that they'll bring up other people's problems and issues to make themselves feel better because they had issues. Difference is, it's delusion. It's to make them see that they definitely are in the wrong, but they have to bring up other people in order to sort of get a crumb of comfort. You know, they're not the only worst person in the world. But people that they're describing, they're either describing people that have done bad in the past, or have either changed, you know, and have changed now, or they bring up somebody that done something bad recently the one time, and that's all they can ever think about. Or a person hasn't done anything at all, just to make them feel better. But it doesn't work, because it makes themselves look more stupid. Why are you bringing up people that aren't relevant to your issues if you're not going to change yourself? Surely the whole point of that is to make it, you know, so that you can actually change for the better. And also another theory to this, when somebody has an addiction, it's sort of like, can I say the word begin with S? I'm going to say this type of words, right? Sometimes when people want to consume something a lot, it's kind of like the way of offing themselves, if that makes any sense. And I apologize if I'm saying if I'm saying that brutally, but that's my theory. And I'm entitled to have theories and opinions of my own. And I have experience to look after someone with an addiction, but I'm not going to mention any more than that, right? I don't want to, you know, cause any issues and stuff like that. It has to be spoken about. I can't feel like a counsellor right now, like a therapist. But the thing is, you know, and yet the reason why they don't off themselves that heavily is because they know them in their minds, they know it's not the right thing to do, and there's more important things than that. And they do have to look after themselves before they look after anybody else. But if those people have kids, I feel sorry for those kids. I really do. Honestly, I do, because those kids are going to grow up and they're probably going to be addicted to the same thing. Or if worst case scenario, they'll probably be stressed and go through mental health for their own. It's sad. It would be sad. It's sad to see. Our parents don't see it. When parents see that and they still don't change, it kind of means they chose their addictions taking over them so much to the point where they find that more important than their kids. And yeah, I don't doubt those parents buy their kids gifts and talk to them, you know, stuff like support them. Yeah, that's what a parent's job should be. But a parent shouldn't make a household environment uncomfortable for their kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, it should be, those kids should be an inspiration for them to change. Those kids should be a reason for them to stop. You got to drill in their heads more. People with an addiction, you got to keep saying the same thing over and over, and it'll process. Yeah, it won't always work because they're delusional and ignorant, right? They seem to think, oh, you know, I've got an addiction, so you haven't been fit, blah blah. Great, I haven't been fit, because my advice makes it even better, because I can drill into their heads and just know what you need. And the worst people, if you have a parent or friend, right, or family friend that has an addiction, don't put them around people that enable it, because what the enablers will do, they'll say it's okay to do this because you're still going to get through it. How are you still going to get through an issue if you're still doing the same issue? That's like seeing a brick wall in front of you, I'm still trying to go through it because you think, okay, don't worry, the brick wall will drop or it will collapse. Like, it doesn't make any sense, does it? You're talking to a brick wall more like. And you need to put them around people that actually don't do that much consumption. And yeah, there's people that actually do consume what they're addicted to, but they don't have an addiction to it, and they still give them good advice. But again, they're still doing the same thing that the person has an addiction to. Don't do it. Don't enable it. This is where enablers, people that enable it, they often get the person to more crap with what they're addicted to because they think it's okay for them to do that, and they oh, this is like a sympathy thing. Oh, it's okay. You can no get good. Tough love is important in life. That's what us parents would give our kids. Well, that's what I definitely give my daughter when she's like older anyway, because she's still a baby. But that's what other parents give their kids when their kids are getting bad attitude, or act as if life is tough on them, or when they're lazy. Parent gives them tough love. You need to give your kid tough love. Or you need to give them, not just kids. I mean, kids can have an addiction too, but you need to give any family member, friend, a family friend, or anybody tough love in that situation. Seriously, I don't get it. This video, I want it to be an inspiration to addicts out there. Right? I want it to be. I'm sick and tired of people being addicted to something and not stopping. You have a choice, right? No one's fault. No, it's like they act like a gun's been put to their head and they're saying, look, you better do this right now, consume this, or whatever it is, just so that I don't shoot you. I'm just like, they act like that's happening to them. They have a choice, and they keep making the wrong ones. Like people, I've noticed addicts that have been through far worse and been through like rehab and things like that have actually changed more because it's stricter. It's a stricter program. Yeah, they're going to go through withdrawals. That's what happens when you get addiction. You go through withdrawals. That's normal. But there's people that have been through withdrawals and they haven't experienced on these issues. They might go back to it once in a year or two, but they turn their life around, and that's usually, how it should be. And these are the same people that complain that life is hard. Life is meant to be hard. People tell me the same thing when I was younger. Life is hard, and I'm trying my best to look for jobs. So even that's difficult. And yeah, there's days where I suck and I shouldn't be, but I'm looking. I ain't giving up on the things I want to do. I'm just not going to give up. And this is the same mentality that these type of people should have. And this is harsh. Like I said, if any of you feel offended by this video, that's how you're taking it. That you probably have a neighbor, or you're stressed out and you just don't want to hear anymore. I understand it. Fair enough. You can choose to watch half of this video or the full thing. Your choice, right? You still viewed it. You still took the time to view it. Fair enough. Maybe even like it, probably even comment or share. And the same person that commented on the addiction video on my second channel, comment again on here and let me know if it's the same person that commented. Because it said you don't understand. This same person said to me, oh, you don't understand what addiction is. Right, let me put it to you. I understand what you mean, but I don't. Actually, at the same time, I don't want to go through something like that, and I wouldn't want to understand it. But at the same time, I know I live with someone with an addiction. I understand exactly what's happening. Maybe not behind the scenes. And people have told me you don't know what's going on, blah blah blah. I don't need to. If you have an addiction and you got issues behind closed doors, that shouldn't cause you to have an addiction. That should cause you to do what you got to do with the addiction. They're totally different. Whatever's happening, you got to make sure you separate that. Make sure you try and sort out what's going on so you don't have the addiction. I know it sounds easy, but it shouldn't be that complicated for addicts out there. I only got consumed this or took this because I'm being stressed out. That's not a damn near good excuse, man. Come on. I mean, I get stressed out a lot of times. Doesn't want me to drink, take drugs or anything of the sort. It makes me actually just want to calm down and watch something to make me relax. We've all made mistakes. Addicts make mistakes. I made mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. I take accountability for them. Yeah, sometimes mistakes can come back, the odd time, so you're frustrated or whatever it is. But we all make mistakes. It's part of life. But the difference for me is I take accountability. Some addicts do. Addicts acknowledge they have an issue. They take accountability. And some addicts that don't take accountability and always blame other people, that's why they are never going to change, because they'll still do what they gotta do and they don't care. And that's definitely the truth. And any of you can take it however way you want in that situation, right? It's your choice. But whatever's going on behind the scenes, that's not an excuse to consume or take anything. It really isn't. You actually make yourself look more pathetic. That's not being rude. If you can't change for your own like family, if you can't change for the people around you, change for yourself, right? No one's asked, no one's saying to do it, no one's forcing you to. You got to set a good example for people around, even other addicts. Addicts can set an example. Ex-addicts can set an example for new addicts out there, right? It's part of it. But you just got to listen. You got to listen. You got to open your ears. You got to process the fish in your mind. Like, that's what you got to do. You got to focus and you got to put the effort in to do this. No one's saying to stop everything completely, but the more you keep doing it, the more you're going to put yourself in a situation where you end up in a coma. And who are you going to blame? You're going to blame people that weren't even there to begin with to make yourself feel better? Or are you going to start taking account of blaming yourself? Because by that time, you're in a coma when you're in rehab or whatever, and you can't see much people, or coma, you probably will, but you'll be in the coma. But in rehab, you won't see that many people, or you won't live with anybody that you've been living with. It's going to be difficult. You're going to start taking accountability and start realizing that it was all you to begin with. Blaming other people does not make this situation go away. It'll make it worse. Because you don't want to be criticised too much, because it gives you a headache. I know it would. We've all done it. You put other people in situations, and it sounds really petty. But in a serious case like this, that's not helping. It makes it way, way worse for you. So, look, I'm glad I haven't been through it, because at least I can be able to give good advice. If I did go through something like this, then I thought my advice would probably be slightly different, if I'm being honest with you. So yeah, look, I know there's a bit of a freeze right there. I don't know why it froze a little bit. It doesn't matter. I don't know what else I can say. But remember this, your family and friends, especially the ones that care about you, will not enable the addiction. They will want you to snap out of it at some point and tell you to change, right? These addicts have been going through an addiction for 20 years. Some of them are maybe 30 years or 15 years. You have a choice. You could have started them anywhere, but you still haven't chose to start. They might have a good 1, 2, 3 months of doing good. That doesn't mean that it might be a step in the right direction, but they go backwards and heavily regress and start doing the same old rubbish for the next 6, 7 months. They've gone heavily backwards. They haven't improved one bit. You know what I'm saying? Even resisting people with alcohol, fair enough, you can do that. I can understand that, right? Self-control and stuff like that. But if you can't do that, what hope do you have of changing your life and you cutting out the addiction? What hope do you have? I'm not being rude, but what hope do you have? Like, come on. It might take you a few years to change, but start from somewhere. If you give yourself like a target of like, okay, I'm going to stop doing this for like a year or 2. That's a good start, right? Have a year without it. That's a good start. But if you continue the same old habits, you're not going to get anywhere with changing. You never are. And it can affect people's jobs, and then they start being like, oh my god, what's happening? They start losing people, and they start saying, those people weren't there for me. Because you pushed them away and told them they were the problem. Duh, of course they're going to leave. If I was them, I would too. It's not rude. It's called common sense. It's a natural instinct to react like that, to say you leave it. And then that person starts feeling guilty and want those same people back. Oh man, and you bring people that will give you the same problems because it's comfort. You addicts have a strange mentality. You have the mentality of doing the complete opposite. It isn't right. It really isn't. And this video is a lot more informative than the video I made on my second channel about this. So I'm glad this video feels better, because I started to talk more about it and go into in-depth detail on it. And look, doesn't matter. I feel like I need to stop here. I think I said enough. I don't want to repeat myself. But yeah, if you have any loved ones that have an addiction, get them to watch this video. It might be inspiring. It might make them want to change more. I mean, they don't have to watch. You could watch half of it or maybe a quarter of it. It might make them feel better. Watch any video, any inspirational video, and see how they react. If they still react the same, then they clearly haven't processed it and clearly haven't taken anything from it and haven't gained any knowledge from it. It's still just things that they chose it. They kind of chose their addiction over their family and friends technically, so which is should be. So yeah. Anyways, I think that's it for this video. If you want, you can give it a like, comment, share when you know, subscribe and hit the notification below. As I see you in my next video.